Howdy guys, popping in for another review video, this time reviewing Our Endless Numbered Days by Claire Fuller. I mentioned this in a library haul that I did recently. It's a book that I picked up there. I'd heard about it from Vienna Waits Books from Kristen, and she did a good review of it, said it was a good book and the themes appealed to me, so I decided to check it out, and boy am I glad I did. So the basic plot of this book is main character is a young girl whose family seems to be going through a lot of dramas, and her dad is a bit of a survivalist, takes her away to live in the woods, and while he's there he tells her that the rest of the world has ended. The world has ended and they're the only two survivors. And a lot of the story is sort of in two halves. Half is around her experiences as a child in the woods, in the forest, with her dad and their survivalism, and the other half is set later on when she is back out of the forest and trying to adjust back to real life and figure out what on earth went on. The first thing that grabbed me straight away, and was a large reason for me reading it, was the sort of survival theme, as that is a subject that appeals to me, and so I knew straight away from the outset that that was going to be something of personal interest. When I was young, I was obsessed with the idea of running away and living in the woods. I used to read the SAS survival guide about, how to make a fire, what you can eat, what berries you can eat, and I think that that theme of them going and living in the woods and how they survived was really appealing to me and didn't let me down when I was reading it. It was a strong theme and I enjoyed it. Another big positive for me was that I have read a lot of young adult stuff lately, but it was the first adult fiction book that I'd read in quite a while, and that was really noticeable and really refreshing, that it didn't feel really simplistic. It felt like there was depth and meat to the story. The language felt more meaty than I've been reading of late. I really liked the way it was one of those suspenseful mystery stories where you start the book with that question of what on earth happened to her in this forest, and it sort of drips away, dripping clues, and the story is gradually revealed, obviously with all the full story being revealed at the end. I love that kind of book. I love that you're always thinking, and it keeps you reading, it keeps you, because you want to know what's gone on, so it keeps you reading, and that was a real big plus for me. When I finished reading this book, the thing that really stood out for me was that I couldn't stop thinking about it afterwards. I always think that that's a sign of a really good story, actually, a really good book, when you just can't stop thinking about it, and that was a real big plus for me. It's the kind of story that stays with you and makes you think about life in a different way. Does that sound a bit over the top? In terms of negatives, I find it quite hard actually to come up with any. The main negative for me, I felt it was quite a slow burner to start with. It took a while to get into the story. That wasn't too much of a negative because it was more when they were talking about survivalism and blah blah blah. But yeah, it was a bit, the first half didn't keep me as gripped as the second half did. The other thing that isn't really a negative because it turned out okay, but I was concerned about was having the two different timelines going on at the same time. So having the childhood her and then the teenage her flipping from one to another. I tend to get quite immersed in a story and be really irritated when it jumps to a different time or a different character. But actually, when I was reading Our Endless Numbered Days, I didn't feel that I had a preference. I suppose because that's the annoying thing, when you're immersed in a story and you're really enjoying it, and then it pops you in a different time that you're not that interested in. Can be really annoying, but I found both the timelines were completely gripping and both working really well to reveal clues. It wasn't like one was more exciting or revealing than the other. So overall on Goodreads I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I toyed around with the idea of giving it 5 stars, but I'm really stingy with 5 stars. I recommend this wholeheartedly to people. If you enjoy that kind of, if you enjoy the survivalist thing, you'll enjoy it. Particularly at the start, I felt it had quite strong links. It reminded me of the book Room by Emma Donoghue quite a bit. So I think that if you like that kind of story, then this will really appeal to you. But I do highly recommend it. If you've read it, let me know and let's chat about it all night. I will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.